Hi everybody, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel, and I'm going to read some angel cards for you for the week starting Monday the 9th of March through to the 15th of March 2020. So it is a pretty big week. Mercury retrograde finishes on the Monday, but there is sometimes what's called a shadow period, a post-shadow period after the retrograde. We might still be feeling the effects for a couple of weeks yet. But Mercury is going to be direct, so things should flow a little more easily. That fogginess that many of us are experiencing during this Mercury retrograde due to the fact it's happening in Pisces, the dreamy sign, should subside. So that's good news. Tuesday, here in Australia, we have the supermoon in the sign of Virgo. I believe that's happening on Monday in US time. So Virgo is the sign of health and well-being. It is the sign of systems, planning, organization, service, nature, pets. It's a very systematic sign. So sometimes we can get a lot of momentum to get going with organizing our lives around a full moon. And remember, a supermoon just means a really intense full moon. So full moons are about completion, they're about manifestation. So if you have been working on something new that involves organization or systems or health or well-being or anything like that, you might find it comes to completion. You get some great momentum coming through. You get a new insight about how to move forward with it, all that sort of thing. You kind of yield the results of what you've been working on. So you might find that coming through, and certainly it is a good time for setting up new systems now that Mercury will have completed its chaos. It's a very mischievous planet, Mercury. So Monday's card, we have crystals. So I have to be completely honest with you straight from the outset. I am not massively into crystals. You can probably see on my altar I do have some. Most of those have been given to me. Some of them I have gone into shops and they've jumped out at me and I've bought them, but I'm not massively into them. I'm not saying I'm not into them. I'm just saying, as such, I'm not trying to say I don't believe that they have magical powers and properties. I do. I personally don't feel a massive pull to learn more about them. So my knowledge on crystals is pretty limited. I've picked ones that have spoken to me. I don't actually have a lot. Some people love crystals and really carry them around and work with them, and that's just not the particular branch of spirituality that has really resonated with me. So my ability to give you insight on this is going to be limited. If you are someone who feels a call towards expanding your knowledge on crystals, go for it. That's what this card will be telling you. You might feel called to do some crystal healing if you want to become a crystal healer. Again, this card is all your signs saying go for it. Now, if that's not for you, the thing I always take this back to is about crystals are a mineral from the earth. So this can be about your connection to the earth. And as I mentioned, that Virgo energy, pretty strong. Virgo all about nature. This might be a call for you to spend more time outdoors and reconnecting with nature, which we all need to do. I know in the US you are moving into spring. Hopefully things will be a little bit warmer to allow you to do this. But we forget, we spend way too much time inside on our screens these days, and we need to be connecting with nature much more often, even if it's just a 10-minute walk in the park in lunchtime, ideally without your phones. Save the podcast for another day, and just really being aware of what comes up for you. You might find it just clears your energy, and gosh, we all need that. Tuesday, soaring into joy. Love the energy of this card. It's so evocative with the balloons. Not advocating getting balloons, they're obviously very bad for the planet, but you get the symbolism here. They are associated with joy. The words on this card are childlike wonder fills my life. So again, similar to the nature card, it's about stripping it back to basics, enjoying what's around us rather than being on this go, go, go kind of energy and looking for constant stimulation instead of actually just looking around. Being really mindful of what's around us, being grateful for what's around us, and just remembering to make some time to feel joyful for what we do have and for what's going right in our lives. That's a big one, I think. Wednesday. It does seem crazy that we need to be reminded to experience joy, but honestly, we do. Wednesday's card actually has a beautiful moon on it. We have two, but I'll start here with this one, celebration. It's interesting, I did talk about how the full moon is about manifesting and about bringing through or yielding, I guess, the fruits of your labor. I mean, in ancient times, the full moon was the time where the harvest was the crops were brought in to harvest. I don't know if I explained that very well, but you know what I mean. So this might be about really leaning into this energy of completions, letting go of something that you need to let go of, celebrating what you've got, just like yesterday's card of the soaring into joy, and just taking a moment to actually enjoy what you have worked for, really looking at what you've manifested and created in your life already, the things that you probably were yearning for a few years ago that you have created. Ideas and whoops, sorry, it's not, I got that wrong. Just for the record, this is recorded during the Mercury retrograde, so that's my disclaimer. I thought this was a different card. It's actually the truth and integrity, not the ideas and inspiration card. Truth and integrity. Integrity is a big word. It's often bandied about. We don't often stop to think about it. It is a word which means being true to your values. What are your values? For example, one of mine is treating people with respect and making sure I'm treated with respect. And if I'm not, goodbye, I'm bye Felicia, out the door. So really look at whether you are being true to your value system. If you value, I don't know, looking after your body, but you're not actually doing that, maybe this is a little gentle nudge for you to do that. You're making sure you're acting in integrity. This is often about relationships as well. I just gave the example of when I'm not being treated with respect to walk away. And maybe you could look at whether you feel like the people you're around match your value system, and it's okay if you have people who don't. We all have different kind of layers of friends, but the people you spend the most time with, if they are into things that you're not into, for example, maybe you're out of alignment with them and you need to make some different decisions about the way you spend your time. I'm not advocating being judgmental, I'm just saying you need to take care of the energy that you are bringing in as well as what you're putting out. So being truthful, I'm not saying, this is not necessarily about lying or anything like that, it's not quite that cut and dried. It's more about what is your truth. So, you know, for example, my truth is that I'm a light worker who's here to simplify spiritual messages and to make them, to deliver them in a way that is digestible for people in a realistic way. So am I in alignment with that? That's always a good question for me to think about. Or am I sending out messages that actually make no sense to people? If that's the case, then I'm not living my truth. So are you living your truth, or are you going along with what everybody else is doing? Are you just caught up, are you going through the motions, caught up in the tide of what everybody else thinks? Oh, everybody else is wearing this season, so I'm going to wear that too, even though I actually can't really justify spending more money on more clothes. That's just a very superficial example, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. Let's look at Thursday now. I'm not too sure how those two cards marry together, to be honest, but maybe they don't. Sometimes we can try too hard to find meanings that actually aren't there. Maybe they are meant to be taken as separate entities. Thursday, Cupid. If you're into astrology, this is very much a fifth house kind of energy, about being in love with your life. I know it sounds so corny, but honestly, if we're not enjoying our lives, here's this card coming up again, we are going to feel really dissatisfied. We're going to feel like we're going through the motions, and we're going to end up regretting the choices that we've made when we look back on our lives. So this is reminding you to actually enjoy your life. Fall back in love with it. What are the things that you love? What are the things that make your heart sing? Why aren't you doing those? You used to love art, but you never do it anymore because you say you're too busy. Well, maybe you're too busy because you're not actually making time for the things that make you happy, because when we do things that make us happy, we feel like there's more time. It actually kind of expands time in a weird way. Time is quite elastic, and time is also the way you show the universe what matters to you. And if all you're showing the universe is work and running around after people, what's important to you, then it's going to be really hard for you to manifest things that are good for you. So yeah, obviously Cupid is associated with romance. There could be romantic ideas around this for you in your relationship, about bringing through a beautiful romantic sentimental energy in terms of, you know, gestures to your partner, and, you know, having some deep meaningful conversations about how much they mean to you, being grateful for what you have, that sort of thing. If you're single, we know that you can't attract, if you're single and you are trying to manifest a relationship, I know not everybody who's single is, a lot of you are very happy being single, which I totally understand. If you are, however, trying to bring through a relationship, remember you can't attract something if you're not already in that energy. So you need to be in that energy of love, which means doing lovely things for yourself, treating yourself like you actually care about yourself. You know, taking yourself to places you want to go, living the life that you want to live with other people. Do that for yourself, and that starts to bring that flow towards you. If you're sitting around waiting for things to change, that doesn't tend to, you're not in the right energy. You're in the energy of stagnancy, and that doesn't tend to attract new things to come through. Friday? No, yes, Friday. Be strong. I'm not even going to try and attempt to say this Egyptian goddess's name because I don't know how to say it. So it says you are stronger than you think you are, and your strength assures a happy outcome. I know when you're going through struggle, it is much easier to sit at the bottom of the mountain and cry than it is to actually attempt to climb the mountain, but the only way out is through. And so this is bringing through some strength for you and saying, you have to move through this. Keep going. Do not give up at the moment. Do not sit around, blame and complain. Start to work through it. Take responsibility for that. You are strong enough. You can do this. And so get started on that. Sometimes this card also talks about if you've been through a lot of struggle in your life already, or a lot of disappointment, it's very easy to think that you are cursed in some way, or that nothing good ever happens for me. You can get really stuck in that energy, and that will not help you. Try to reframe your past experiences as a source of strength rather than a source of failure and some sort of indication that you are this is the way it's always going to be. That's not the case. So and a good way to do that is actually to look at the things that you are that have really not gone so well for you, that are particularly playing on your mind, and look at what you actually learned from that and how your life is better because of it. Because, you know, if you've been in a relationship where you were treated badly, but you learned not to put up with that anymore, and you haven't put up with it again, then you've learned something. Of course, if you've attracted the same situation, that's a cycle, a pattern that you definitely need to work on with an energy healer. But if you have actually broken that cycle already, then great, you've learned your lesson. Instead of being angry at that person, concentrate on moving forward, because nothing goes away until it's taught us what we need to know. How cool was this? My nails matched her dress. Totally superficial there. Friday. Okay, let's go to Saturday here. Focus on divine and perfect health. This is Saturday's cards. This is a general card deck. It's actually the Archangel Michael card deck. It's not geared around health. I do have a health card deck that I use in personal readings for people who have health questions about a specific situation they're dealing with, but that's not, this one is very general. So, but a health card has come up. You might notice that the symbolism of this, I've forgotten the name of it, but it is the Western medicine kind of symbol that is often used. It's actually often associated with Archangel Raphael, who is associated with healing and health. So two things. If you are dealing with a health complaint at the moment and it's been playing on your mind, this card inspires you to change your mindset around that. Even if you can't change your situation, and often you can't with a health situation, changing the way that you think about it is one thing that's always in your power to do. So yeah, instead of railing against it, try to work with it and look for what is it, how is my mindset contributing or keeping me stuck here. This is sort of Viktor Frankl kind of stuff. But yeah, the idea of what do I have the power? You've always got the freedom to choose the way you respond to a situation, even if you don't have any control over the situation yourself. If there are things you can control and you're not doing them, such as maybe you've had some advice about changing your diet or getting more sleep, I don't know, whatever the situation is, and you're not doing that, then that's when you need to look at your mindset and say, why am I not doing this? What's in my mindset? Sometimes we don't do that because we actually like being sick, and well, we don't like being sick. I'm completely oversimplifying, but we like that case of, we like being a bit powerless because we know that if we actually step into our power and try to change a situation, it might not work. So that's a bit scary. Sometimes that fear of failure can keep people from wanting to actually try and change their situation. Hopefully that explains it a bit better than my initial attempt. If you've got no health complaint at the moment, and remember, health is a biggish theme with the Virgo energy, or maybe depending on how you're going. This is just asking you to look after your physical health, and there's not a single person who doesn't need to know this. So even if you're making all the right decisions and everything's going well, I'm sure there's something you could tweak. And if it's not your physical health, it could be your emotional health in terms of the people you spend time with, the choices you make. So relationships can be part of that, but I think we're responsible for what we take on. And if you are watching, there's a terrible reality show on in Australia. It's absolutely vile. It's called, I don't even want to talk about it. It's where they set up people and force them to get married, and it's absolutely toxic because they deliberately manipulate people's feelings to shame them, to make them look bad, and to get the drama. And it's a cesspit. It's so horrible. I feel my energy just absolutely sinking on the couple of times I've tried to watch. So if you are choosing to watch something that you know makes you feel bad, that gets you straight into judgment, that antagonizes you, maybe you need to think about how what you're choosing to take on board, because the choices we make about what we watch, read, all those sorts of things, they're really important, and so that can have an impact on your energy. So maybe that's what it is in terms of your emotional health, because things like that on TV can be really provoking, and that's why we don't really watch a lot of TV in my house, except Grand Designs. I love Grand Designs. So Sunday, sensitivity. We had this card, I believe it was Saturday, and again, Archangel Haniel is here, associated with the moon, lunar cycle, amongst other things, and it is about your sensitivity to energies and emotions. So pretty much what I just said about what you're taking on board, and how that's having an impact on your energy. And obviously a major contributor to that is the people you spend time with, if they are taking advantage of you, if they are energy vampires, if they are narcissists. If you're spending time with them, then you are really draining your energy unnecessarily, and you don't do anyone any favors by putting up with their BS. So please don't think you're being polite by spending time with people that you maybe feel sorry for because you can see they're a bit lost, or you feel like you have to because you're related or something like that. So making better choices about where you go, your environments. I've mentioned this before, but I don't really enjoy being at pubs anymore, not only because I don't drink, but just because of my energy. I'm so sensitive now. I can pick up where people are really not in a great place. They are looking to start fights, to distract themselves, to make themselves feel powerful because they are full of fear, whatever it is. I can't be in that situation. So when we look at the week, health is a bit of a theme in terms of our physical health, but also our energetic health and our emotional health. This idea about joy comes through really strongly, and I think integrity, where was that? Here. This idea of integrity in terms of our value system, what is important to us, and taking more charge or better charge of the way that we spend our time and what we're doing, where we're putting our energy is really important. It's pretty important all the time, in fact, but perhaps more so this week. That's it, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll be back next week. Don't forget you can book in a personal reading or an energy healing session via my website www.onegroundedangel.com. Go straight to the bookings tab there, and especially, as I mentioned, if you're finding you are stuck in patterns that you can't seem to break, that might be something in your energy, so we can have a chat about that. And of course, I'm on Instagram. I put up each card each day. At One Grounded Angel is my handle, and my Facebook page is also One Grounded Angel. You don't have to be on Facebook to check that out. Thanks everybody, goodbye. I will be back next week.